Alright, welcome back everyone for more Salvus Aries. Today I will be trying to finish the routes. I don't know how much more I have because I thought I could finish it the other day, but Kame's route just wouldn't end. So, sorry about that. My mic fell off. But yeah, I was trying to finish it the other day, but I don't think I couldn't. So now I'm just gonna try to finish it. Hope if it takes only a little bit, I'll try and find another game to play, so I won't just go live for like 15 minutes or whatever. So yeah, let's get started. Where was it? Here? Right. Do you have any ideas as to how to proceed? Wait, let me just fix my mic. It's bothering me. Right. Do you have any ideas as to how to proceed with this? Not in particular. He admitted this easily, and for that I have to give him credit. I grinned at him. It felt good to have the tables turn, and to be the one in charge. I leaned forward, proud to share my knowledge. While I hated the entire institution of noble society, I suppose I should have been thankful it came in handy. I do not know how similar the society is to my own, but there are two different places where you can expect nobility to congregate. In secret parlors, away from wandering eyes and ears, or, in the midst of them, high society. Entertainment is the easiest way to break in. Felix always took me to the theater. While his attention was mostly focused on me, he sometimes conducted business there too. I like how she knows that Felix's attention is on her all the time, but she doesn't know that he's in love with her. That's kind of crazy. Like, I would be sus if a guy seems to pay way too much attention on me, but I guess, when we needed more secretive connections, the theater did not fail us in that regard too. Mr. Butler, let us look for the most luxurious of events. I do imagine you have the coin. That much I have prepared. I thought he would look disappointed at me for calling the shots. Was my man like getting bullied? But it was the opposite. He was leaning forward too, and the twinkle I was used to seeing in his eyes had returned. Why are you looking at me like that? I am admiring you. You seem to be in quite your element. Such an outright compliment, brazen man. I loathed this part of my work, but as a tactician, unfortunately, I had to wear several hats. I leave it to you, Miss Tactician. After paying for our drinks, we set out to look for our first location. Felix usually already knew where to go, but my sister told me that they usually spoke of these events in boutiques. Looks like we need not go too far. At a storefront, we saw a poster pasted right next to the shop window. Danse du Victoire. There is a show this evening. How convenient for us. We should get ourselves some box seats. You've brought along enough money, Mr. Butler? You need not worry about our finances, mademoiselle. I was confident that we could fit into the noble role. Kame was perfectly cordial and elegant as my butler. I was never an actual noble in my past life, but I knew how to emulate one well enough. My father had grown wealthy enough for us to live as well as a baron, at the very least. I had etiquette lessons and went to many gatherings in my time as a human. Felix refused to go to any such parties without me, so I had no choice but to tag along. What is he, a baby? You're babysitting? Kane would go to purchase the tickets, and I, as his master, was to wait nearby. I waited on a bench near the theater. It was taking a long time. Too long. The tea I had purchased from a shop nearby had grown cold in my hands. Since the coffee was so good, I was curious about how the tea would be too. Perhaps he was doing some investigating without me? Or is he in trouble? As though affirming my worries, I felt my hairpiece thrashing violently against my hair as a breeze swept through the night. It was coming from the direction of the theater. I hurried towards the theater only to find Kane in the shadows, surrounded by several men wielding daggers. Ver, get back! Why was he always telling me to get back? Why are you being attacked? He has money, girl. What? Because I found this place rather boring. Though he usually employed his sarcasm in a more subtle fashion, the irony dripped from his words, just as sweat dripped from his forehead. Obviously, these malevolents have showed up. Ah, I can handle them. Rather, staying on this otherwise lovely scenery. They look like humans, King.
Astute observation. Let your butler take care of this.
I found my butler to be a fool, and approached the circle anyway. The men did not move in response, and I found their stances to be sloppy. Then how are you sure? Their energy is peculiar. I know they are not alive, and their killing intent is strong. It is perhaps something that I am more attuned to seeing, but I will admit that they do not look all too different. Then why do they look alive? I have my suspicions, but I'm not entirely sure just yet. Well, we just need to take them out, correct? I drew my blade, but Kane shook his head in fervent warning. We cannot harm these spirits. Why ever not? Reluctantly, I sheathed my weapon once more. Because they were not meant to be dead in the first place. Not yet, anyway. Cannot extinguish their spirits. I am uncertain if we can reverse it, even after we succeed in our mission. None of them? They're all new? It is difficult to distinguish. It is likely they are gaining energy from an older spirit. Why they all have returned their human forms is a mystery to me, however. He admitted this with great chagrin, and clenched his jaw with anger I knew was directed at himself. I thought you could see through things. When my brother is involved, things can become muddy. He's here? How? It's the only answer I have for now. Unfortunately, I am not Mr. I know everything, as you like to say. Fine. If you're going to be like that, I'll just leave it to you, Mr. Butler. Just before we could begin bickering again, the men decided that this would be their chance to strike. This will be How are you all moving so fast? They slashed out at Kane in quick succession, and while his speed was second to none, not being able to strike back with his weapon was becoming a problem. Do you really just want me to stand here and watch? Yes. I just need to subdue them somehow. You're doing such a fantastic job with that. I've proved myself capable before.
Yes, when you could strike back. Just let me take a beating and enjoy the view.
His voice panicked with sadness rather than any sort of bitterness. I don't hate you that much, Kane. I don't think I can bring myself to. Couldn't just leave him to it. Not that either of us were about to have much say in the matter. While Kane was telling me all the reasons I should not get involved, one of these finely dressed creatures made a charge for him, but then fainted and lunged straight for me. That's cheating! I summoned my weapon to protect myself, but remembered that I couldn't harm these wayward spirits. Ashamed as I was to admit it, I froze in place. Perhaps as if Aries had chased me around with a weapon during training. Kane's arms wrapped tightly around me as I heard a slashing noise, followed by a sickly plunging sound. Ugh. Slightly morbid. Ah, for fuck's sake, bastards got me. Kane? He teetered with us both, and as we staggered, I shifted to support him instead. We need to get out of here. Where's my phone? Use mine. It's in my pocket. We can get directly back to my place. I'll send back up here, so we must retreat first. He said this very sourly, and I knew it injured his pride. As he nudged me forward, the two of us sprinted as quickly as we could. Kim was not the type to surrender, so he must be far more hurt than he was letting on. They're not following us? I suppose it is because I no longer pose a danger to them. And I'm not a danger? How insulting. My first instinct was to take them out, you see. I suppose that triggered something in them to begin attacking. So you can be reckless too. Yes, yes, gloat while you can. Now, can you hand me my device? I didn't know you could just go directly back home. I get some special perks. Here, let me hold on to you. He weakly jabbed at his screen, and his hand clutched around my waist. The streets of Rue de Victoire swirled away quickly, and we were on the floor of Kane's apartment in the blink of an eye. Finally, he breathed out weakly and sank into my arms. Kane, you're bleeding. How can one little dagger? The power poured into it must have been strong. This is embarrassing.
Stop talking! Kame, are you okay?
No. He was wheezing, and his shoulders were trembling. Are you dying?
No. I just need to sleep this off.
You don't sound so sure. My voice started shaking more than his. I didn't think he could get hurt this badly. What do I do? This wasn't the time to cry, but my eyes were stinging against my will. Well, before I would have Sayer siphon the poison from my wounds. Before? Poison? I was in a panic. This idiot man was going to die in my arms. Let me take a look at it. It is quite all. I grabbed both of his cheeks and stared at him right in the eyes. His eyes widened, perplexed at my sudden desperation. Be quiet and let me look at it. As you wish. He smiled at me, despite the obvious pain in his voice. I felt guilty yelling at him. I told him so confidently that I would take care of him. Realizing what I had to do, though, I felt myself staying. I needed to undress him. This was a non-issue. It was just his upper body, and it is for perfectly medical reasons. Kame released a soft exhale of surprise as I worked off his coat, and the rest of the useless layers off of him. Oh, wow!
I wish this was happening under different circumstances.
We actually get to see. I love the runes on his arm. Wish I know how to put down the text box. He surprised me so much I accidentally jabbed into his wound.
Looks like you're doing just fine if you can joke around like this.
The more I took off, the more damage I unraveled, and there was a nervous lump in my throat. Okay. Blood ran down all his back and had seeped to his sides too. I bit my gasp back, and he smiled weakly. That bad? Let me get the others. I tried to stand up, but he channeled his strength to maintain a strong grip on my wrist. No, let me sleep this off. Don't be ridiculous, it's all blue. Be honest with me. Are you dying? Would you miss me if I die? No. A pity. But no, it is the curse of the malevolence. Is that also not deadly? Well, I haven't yet had the chance to find out. Are you always so cocky in the face of death? He flashed another smile, and I had to convince myself to not shake him. A genial bedside manner was difficult to maintain with such a difficult patient. I don't want you turning into one. You said Sayer had siphoned it away before? I was able to absorb those creatures before. You wonder if I can do the same for his injury. Just how, though? I stroked a finger around a slash in his skin, and he inhaled sharply. Careful. I'm sorry. Did I hurt you? No, it's... never mind. His ears and the back of his neck had turned red. When I realized what happened, I felt myself getting warm too. We'll get back to this later. I closed my eyes and decided to try again with renewed effort.
Don't distract me.
Imagined myself absorbing the energy like I did before, while touching just outside of his wound. Vere, what are you? While the wound itself did not shrink, the energy itself slowly crept into my fingers and away from his flesh. Is it working? Is it working? Are you going to live? I didn't think I was in danger of dying, but whatever it is, I think it is working. But what are you doing? I'm taking the energy away. Ouch! Kame seized my wrist in his hands, and his eyes flashed in warning. I told you to do no such thing before. Do not endanger yourself like this. But I'm clearly fine. I'm not absorbing an entire creature. I'm just healing you.
I would rather you let me die than put yourself at risk like this. Do you understand?
Why do you think you can tell me what to do? Do you enjoy suffering? Is that it? You think you're so intelligent, but really, you're just an idiot. Instead of saying thank you, you're berating me again. In this case, it is a matter of my life and it's also a matter of mine, so butt out. I was yelling at him so passionately that he shrunk slightly. Good. Are you crying? Oh. No, I'm not. I turned away spitefully and used my jabot to wipe my face. Therein were tears prickling my eyes, and I cursed myself for my weakness. I had the unfortunate habit of crying whenever I got too angry. Same, it's so fucking annoying.
That's the second time I've made you cry. I'm sorry. When I think of you being in danger, I cannot help but lose my mind.
He gently touched my cheeks, and his fingers wavered. Hey, what can you even say to that? Why? Genius responds. Because I care about you, of course, and do not ask why again. Then why did you do those things to me? His wound was bleeding again, and I decided it was better to leave this topic for another time. We'll talk about this later. Do you have a first aid kit? Considering we once had an angel who could heal anything, I do not. I see. Without thinking twice, I tore the fabric from the bottom of my blouse and fashioned it into a bandage for him. Are you out of your mind? I have plenty more of these, and besides, you didn't consult me before risking your life to save mine. Now, let us get you to bed, Mr. Butler. You are impossible. His cheeks were a furious shade of red, and I wanted to tease him just a little bit. You know, you're the one entirely shirtless, but you don't see me all flustered. And that wounds my pride, you know? Yes. Which way is your room, actually? You're coming with me? Of course. Now, point the way. Kim coughed, but like a good patient, he took me into his bedroom. Well, here we are. Not the circumstances I imagined bringing you here, however. You've imagined bringing me here before?
Now. Do not overexert the patient with so many questions.
You pervert, leech, incorrigible. I smiled at him, despite the content of my thoughts. Go on, lie down. My back is injured. Then lie on your front, or your other side. I forced him onto the bed and pushed him until he was sat down. I really do not need to sleep, actually. You said you need to sleep it off. No more protesting. I yanked off his glasses and tossed them onto his nightstand. You undressed me very roughly.
And I'll do it again if you don't behave.
That is an incentive to misbehave, rather than a punishment.
Bro. Sleep. Finally a CG! I have been without a CG for so long. Finally, thank you so much, game, for giving me a CG. Having had enough, I sat down next to him, and with a marked sense of frustration, I seized his head and pulled it down to my lap. Ready? Be quiet. Go to sleep. This is a very distracting position to be asleep in. I'll say. His head was warm, and I felt his cheek and hair brush against my torso. His cheeks remained red, and neither of us were impolite enough to point out just how intimate the situation was. Do you want me to leave? The sheets rustled softly as he brought his hand up to hold mine. No, stay, please. I haven't forgiven you yet, you know? I know.
But I'll let it slide for tonight.
I hope I didn't break your glasses. You should be careful. Glasses are really expensive, girl. I've never seen you without them before. You're actually quite handsome. I stroked from his forehead to the tips of his nose, and he sighed. And I'm not handsome with them on?
But no glasses came is far more gentle.
He smiled and brought my hand up to his mouth to lightly kiss my knuckles. King.
I know. Push me away if you need.
A part of my heart hurt, but realized that I had been craving this intimacy again all this time. You know I don't. I carted my free hand through his hair. It was a curious mix of ebony and gold, and I marveled as I passed his locks through my fingers. Shall I turn the lights off? If you wish. I'd rather admire your face a little longer, though. The night came. I wasn't sure what to do with him in the morning, so I had snuck off while he was still asleep. I did not have any business with Kane today. He had left a memo on my desk, but with no indication of what happened last night, save for a wrapped cookie on top. What to do with you? He was lucky I was so attracted to him, a fact I could no longer deny. And he could be so soft, but so mean, so stupid, but he cared about me too. I wish I could ask Felix for advice. Actually, Felix would probably kill him. What do I have to do today? Paperwork? Ugh. I had no reaping scheduled, nothing but endless forms to do. Belafar, where are you? Call? Good heavens, you scared me. Where have you appeared from? I felt your cry for help. Oh, good. I need help with my work. You spend one day with Kame and he rubs off on you. He gave me an anguished sigh, but motioned for me to hand over some of my pile. So you know about that? Indeed I do. All of us do. Aries in particular was the most concerned that none of us saw you for the rest of the day. Or night. Why would you guys see me at night, huh? Don't look at me like that. He was injured, badly. I couldn't leave him be. Alvar clicked his tongue. Whether at me or at the page he was reading, I couldn't say. Why did you not call for any of us? He asked me not to. You still respect all his wishes, then? Well, not all of them, but he got hurt protecting me. Have any of you spoken to him since? Not outside of work, no. I suppose it makes sense that he is avoiding us. But I do not like that you are having to take care of him in our stead. I don't mind it, but don't tell Aries. He'll kick up a fuss.
Don't tell Aries what?
Aries, come on, bro. I jumped in my seat. How do you guys show up from nowhere? I have a sixth sense that tells me when you're being devious. What are you hiding now? How she spent the night with Kame? Aries' face went through a series of emotions.
How could you?
How could I do what? You read one letter and decide to sleep with him? He was hurt. What else could I do?
I'm sorry, do we heal patients now through
Amazing. That is a great line. Through what? May I remind you two that we are in public? Fine, I'll yell at her in private. He snatched my hand and was dragging me away. Val, save me! Oh dear, I should catch up to them. Explain yourself. You explain yourself. What do you think you're doing? Asking you what the hell you were thinking. How could you sleep with him just like that? He wasn't falling asleep. He was hurt. So I thought it would be best to... Wait, did they actually? Fuck him and tire him out? Aries, shut up and let her speak. Aries, how could you think I'd do that? Obviously, I'm still upset with him. So if you weren't, you would... Oh my god, don't act like a jilted partner. Aries? That's not for you to decide. You have no right to interfere in my life. He turned away as if I'd slapped him. They sound like Kame.
You're right. But the minute he fucks you over, I'll be around to pick up the pieces, right?
I don't know which choice to make. Why are there choices? I thought... Did they accidentally put in Kame's entire route or something? You wouldn't do that? I feel like I like the second choice more, so I'm gonna do this one first. You wouldn't do that to me. Oh yeah? Good. Good. All these weeks, while you were in shambles, who did you cling to the entire time? Aries? Was it Kame? No, Kame was busy wallowing in self-pity. But the second he shows you attention, you run to him. He sounds like a white knight. Oh, Aries, I liked you. Now I don't anymore. Did you get tired of me warming your bed? Oh, Aries, what the fuck? He knew how to strike where it hurt the most. I wasn't using you. You were throwing yourself at me. Like, what? Enough. I am not taking any sides, but she is a grown woman. If she plays with fire, the consequences are hers to bear. Easy for you to say. I'm the idiot that keeps coming back. But then don't! It's that easy, guys. It's weird, okay? Okay, let's reload. That is my choice to make. Fine, then I won't be around to make you feel better. I can't believe he was nice to us because he expected us to like it. That's like every girl who has a boy best friend's nightmare. That just sucks to hear, because I actually really liked Aries. All these weeks, while you were in shambles, who did you cling to this entire time? Aries? Was it Cain? No, Cain was busy wallowing in self-pity. But the second he shows you attention, you run to him. Did you get tired of me warming your bed? You knew how to strike where it hurts the most. I wasn't using you. Enough. I'm not taking any sides, but she is a grown woman. If she plays with fire, the consequences are hers to bear. Easy for you to say. I'm the idiot that keeps coming back. I just hate watching you hurt yourself, damn it. He charged past me and left the room, slamming the door shut behind him. This is why I didn't want him to know. That would have made him even more upset. I looked at Valafar for help, but he only sighed. His words are not acceptable, but he speaks out of a misguided sense of love. Give it some time. Think about what is best for you. I sat down on the couch and held my head in my hands. I'm mad at Cain. Aries is mad at me. I've gone and made a mess of things, haven't I? This too will pass. I'm going to see him tonight. Can you keep Aries busy? He scratched his chin thoughtfully, entirely non-committal. You don't think it's a good idea? In this case, it is entirely your decision. I will support you either way. He's been all alone since that day. Yes, but do not let that influence your choices. He made his bed, and he will lie in it. Right. What do you want, Vere? For everything to go back to like it was before.
For us to become friends again? All of us. I miss spending time together.
Then I will leave it in your hands. I decided it was time to talk about this. I sent Cain a text that I would be arriving, and he responded in the affirmative. Aries was still upset with me, and I wanted to avoid any questions from Zara and Zafan, so in the end, I had to come home with Cain. Nothing but small talk was exchanged between us. I suppose it was better we didn't talk about anything awkward in such close quarter. That is a pretty building. I don't think they've shown us before. Thankfully, we didn't run into anyone on the way back. I don't even know what I would say to Aries. Do you wish to go to your place or mine? Yours. Less chance of interruptions. Very well. I'll make you your usual drink. It feels like it's been ages since we've all been on here. I ran my fingers over the leather, remembering fondly about all the mischief we caused every night. It has, hasn't it? It was used to the usual crew hanging around here. Cain making drinks, while the others wait patiently for him. Zafan and Seer would be up to their antics, annoying Aries. He would snap at them, and then Valafar would scold all three, while Cain enjoyed the mayhem. But now, it was quiet, desolate. The only thing that remained similar was Cain making drinks, one for him and one for me. He even included my little umbrella. We both took quiet sips. I sat on his sofa while he had his back to the wall, drinking what I assumed was some whiskey.
You snuck away this morning.
Not accusatory, but a little playful. He was making it sound like I ran away after a shameful tryst.
Ah, sorry about that. Are you feeling better?
Quite a lot better, thanks to you. I was half expecting a little jab at my recklessness, but he let it be. I'm pleased to hear that. I cringed at how polite my tone came across. My fingers dug into the seat, and I busied myself with my drink. Some more silence passed. Occasionally, we would hear ice clinking against a glass. I was about to say anything to cut the tension, but he beat me to it. I'm sorry, Vere. Why did you do it? My voice was more level now. The anger, hurt, and pain had simmered down into pure sadness.
I was desperate after watching Sayre fall. After we all almost... I couldn't risk losing anything more. Losing...
He was pacing now, back and forth across the room, and was still unable to look at me. I also lost my last chance to save my brothers. I thought if it were me to turn them in, then perhaps I could ask for some form of punishment that allowed them to still exist. He sighed, and then put down his glass against the counter with a large thud. But after you got hurt, that small infinitesimal chance vanished. He leaned over now, his elbows on the counter, and his head was in his hands. I'm sorry for all those things. I really am. I wanted to cry again. The guilt that had threatened to consume me was coming back, a nasty reminder of all that happened. No matter what, I still didn't regret. Oh my fucking god, girl. I still didn't regret saving Malthus. And that was what made me feel worse. I was supposed to be a certain way, yet I couldn't. I remained the burden. You didn't mean it. I know this, but I feared that it wouldn't be the last misstep you made. They say people can't think in large quantities. A ship full of 80 people die. It is a tragedy. 1 million people? That becomes a statistic. I wonder if that was why you never felt the true weight of what you did. His words were clinical, but they made sense. I knew the world almost succumbed to chaos, but I woke up in a time of peace, never a witness to my own crimes. So I thought perhaps it would be best to give you a personal example. The fact that I would shake you to the core was something I never predicted. I was seeking to reach your empathetic side, yet I did not grant you any empathy myself.
If I could, I would go back in time and stop myself. Never did I wish to hurt you. You are very dear to me.
See, like, at least he regrets what he did and he would fix it if he can. But MC doesn't regret basically fucking over the chances of his brothers to live, and she would do it again despite knowing that Cain wasn't gonna kill them. You know, like that's what's really getting to me. I don't understand why she doesn't want to retrace the mistakes if she can. I don't get her. And he means it. I can tell. I felt terrible. He wasn't right. He wasn't wrong. I wish I could go back in time too. I would still save them, but without getting the others in trouble. How? I still can, right? I have to.
I'll find some way to save your brothers.
What? No, this wasn't the intent of this conversation. He was flabbergasted, and he stood up to look at me. Oh, so you have no trouble making eye contact when you're mad, You don't want to save your brothers? There's no saving them, and the last thing I want is for you to get involved again. But enough. Stop interfering. If I had the time for every time he told me that, I could buy him an ego check. Like, she needs the ego check, not him. She's ruined everything she's tried to help. So she should really take a step back and think instead of jumping head first into things. Did none of this whole conversation, mean anything to you? I set my drink down and slowly walked over to him. You're still angry with me. It's not that he's angry with you. It's just, I would be surprised too if you don't seem to regret anything that has happened. Is it obvious? So, oh my god, we're circling back and forth on this topic. Some apology. I don't know what you want or what you're asking from me. To stay put, like what he's been saying. With every step, I moved closer to where he stood, and his back was against the bar counter. What can I do to make it better?
It's not that easy. You always have charged on ahead. You have always been a thorn in my side.
Rough saying that, but at the same time I get his frustrations. He pinched the bridge of his nose and looked away, and I wanted to yank his face back to look at me. It was as if he slapped me. What do you mean? Why do you always keep me in the dark? I hate that you just never explain anything to me. Because it's complicated. His hand moved back to thud against the bar, and the glasses rattled within. I hate that. You can't talk about things and just tell me that you can't tell me what they really mean. We can all have what we want in life now, can we?
You think I don't know that? I'm fucking dead!
And yet you have learned nothing. Again, harsh words, but I agree his frustrations. I understand his frustrations. He seethed, and the demon in him was rising again once more. This is like a toxic relationship. They shouldn't be together. Holy shit. But I wouldn't submit easily either. We both believed we were in the right. We both believed we were in the wrong. This was where we clashed, and yet this is what drew us to each other. Hi, welcome! I thought you wanted me back here in order to apologize to me. You asked him to meet you. What? And I am truly sorry for what I did, but that does not mean I still cannot be upset. I glared at him, and he stared me down. Tight. Always one sneeze per stream. And he stared me down in stony silence. We were toe to toe, and I was this close to grabbing him by his tie-in, and something in me snapped. She's gonna kiss him. It was pissing me off. Incredibly so. Still, some stupid part of me was feeling something else. You're a fan of anime? Say, I can tell from your name. I feel like I recognize the name, but I don't know what it's from. Demon Slayer? I was trying to look menacing, but against my will, I was staring at his lips. Why were my eyes betraying me? I followed his gaze. It seemed that he had the same inclinations. They shouldn't date. No, I can't. But why not? No, we're still fighting. Which only made me feel more strange. I wanted to tackle him against the counter and make him see reason. But God, I have missed him. I remembered him sleeping on my lap last night. How I played with his hair and his horns for hours. How I admired his face in the morning before I ran away. And how that wasn't enough. I was torn between the undeniable and bizarre feeling of desire and the even stronger urge to punch him just once. I need to get out of here. Let me go. You're the one backing me up, miss. Please step back. This was true. He was so pressed up against the counter that his back was arching away from me, and my hips were an inch away from his. Wait, this was what I had wanted. I smirked at him, feeling very confident about having the upper hand in this. In what I did not know, but I really wanted to beat him at something.
Make me
Oh my god. I usually love couples who bicker, but this is not it. They're so toxic to each other. I don't agree with the ship. I grinned and pulled him closer to me with his tie, and there was no longer any space between our bodies. I am terribly unwilling to listen to you. He held my chin and leaned in closer. It wasn't the first time he had ever done this, but his grip was firm now, challenging.
I don't play games, but for you, I will make an exception.
His forehead was against mine, and the rim of his glasses pressed against my nose.
You're always playing games. All you do is toy with me.
He chuckled, a disbelieving scoff.
No, you're the one always leading me on chases.
Fine then, don't stop chasing me now. I tugged him even closer, and it would only take one move now for our lips to meet. Is he going to back down? But I don't want him to. Kame froze. You surely don't mean... To hell with my pride. He's an injured victim, don't fuck him. What if his wounds open up? To hell with my pride. Oh, just hurry already. I didn't need to tell him twice. His lips crashed against mine, and his hands desperately grasped the back of my head. His fingers made a mess of my hair as they intertwined with feverish strokes. It's like we were waiting for this forever. Our kiss was filled with emotions I couldn't name. Desperation, anger, spite. My hands were all over him, over his shoulders, down his arms. As I reached his back, though, I hesitated. He wasn't letting me get a word in, or breathe for more than a moment. This demon was going to devour me. Kane, you're hurt. Do I give a damn? If you die from this...
Then it'll be worth it.
I shouldn't be flattered, but I was. Terribly. They're not good for each other. So toxic, holy shit. Am I that irresistible? Well, I am pretty, but... Kame. I still needed to scold him, though. It was the right thing to do. This is your doing, Vere. You've turned me into a mess. Sense and desire was warring within me. My heart was throbbing, hot with all the longing I had been suppressing until now. I ached for him, and, at least based on his actions, he returned my pining in full. Will you really be okay? I'll be in worse condition if we seize it here. Fine. That was as much as he could bear, and he cut me off with another greed-filled kiss. He picked me up and set me on the counter. Is this safe to stream? And as I gasped in surprise, his tongue slid inside my mouth. Kame's okay, is this safe to stream? I am worried. Kame's fingers moved from my head to my front, and my buttons were quickly coming undone. Wait, not here. I pushed his head away and he pouted at me, while still pulling down my dress. I'm not doing it here. Take me to your bed. Oh, right. He blinked, a little speechless. I wasn't sure if it was from his unbridled thirst or from my request. He scooped me up into a princess carry. As you wish, you little minx. What is he, a CAI character? What did you call me? He kissed me again. No more arguments. Or you'll shut me up?
That's right. Well, I wouldn't mind if you were more vocal in other ways.
He wore a rather devilish smirk as he carried me through the hall at lightning speed. Now that we were really truly doing this, the bravado became harder to keep up.
You're terribly eager, aren't you?
To shut you up? Absolutely. You're going to have to do better than that to silence. Hey! He tossed. Is this safe to stream? I'm scared. He tossed me onto the bed carelessly and climbed up on top of me. Am I really doing this? Yes, I am. I didn't get to do this while I was alive, and well, I don't think I could sleep ever again if I stopped here. Is this venue perfect for you? His lips attacked my neck, and I wrapped my arms around his neck as he snuck down lower and lower. If he keeps sneaking down lower and lower, how can your arms stay around his neck? Kane's teeth were sharp against my flesh. Evidence of his presence bloomed along my skin. His hands kept just as busy, as the rest of my clothing had little chance against his wandering fingers. Okay, let me just save here, and then I'm going to speed through it because I read really fast. I can read really fast, and I will just see if there's like anything bad. Okay. It is a little suggestive, but I don't think. Okay. So there's nothing bad. Okay. We're fine.
What a sweet greet.
Okay. We're fine. Sorry, I had to make sure, you know? I did load, right? While his lips were rough, the longing in his touch was gentler in contrast. Is this what you imagined bringing me here for? How about you take a guess? The Reaper nipped at the softest parts of my skin, and I cried out as he continued to mark me as if he was taking his claim. I feel like I'm reading smut. My coat was long abandoned in his living room, but on the bedroom floor now lay my dress, my blouse, my jabot. My heart was in danger of entirely escaping, as he was pulling off the last shred of clothing that covered me. Is something the matter? I've never done this before. I figure, considering you never took Felix as your lover. Oh right, He abandoned his assault on my collarbones to kiss me again.
Don't speak of him while you're in my bed.
You brought it up, dude! His voice had a tinge of possessiveness that I have never heard from him before. The jealous type? I could never have imagined.
Does that mean I can speak about him in other beds?
He glared at me, and the last piece of modesty I had covering my chest had disappeared as well.
You have a lot of nerve.
He punctuated each word with another bite against my skin. A soft trail of pink bites littered my skin, and I gasped as his lips latched onto one of my more sensitive areas.
That's why you like me, don't you?
His fingers made up for where his lips couldn't reach, and blah blah blah. What's the matter? Can't talk back now?
You're such an ass. You know that?
Nice noises. Very good. It was difficult to insult him as my breathing grew more and more labored. He provided far, far more pleasure than irritants at this point. I had yet to ease all of my nerves, but he felt just right for this. He looked up and grinned at me, and I felt his knee gently rest between my legs. I never understand why people write that, like, in fanfictions and such. Like, what is your knee for? Like, surely there's better things to jam in there, no? Just saying. I'm just confused. Don't keep. Oh, I guess if you're grinding on it. Okay, yeah. I whined his name, which naturally egged him on further. Can do this all night. In fact, I think we shall. His head moved lower, and I held him back by his hair. Ouch. Sorry, but two things. Your horns? I looked down at where he was heading, and then back at him. I am not headbutting you down there, if that is your concern. He was laughing softly, and I poked one of his horns. Oh. I felt stupid. He was right, but it was a natural fear in my defense. The other thing, I want you to take your clothes off too. It's not fair. I want to see you too. I was feeling vulnerable. The last thing I had left on was about to come off, and he was still entirely dressed. His tie was disheveled, thanks to me, at least.
When you ask so cutely. But perhaps you should beg a little more.
Bastard glasses man. Just you wait until I get my revenge on you. I'm not going to beg. We'll see about that. And as his head dipped lower, well, I truly did eat my words. Bastard man. Stupid glasses idiot. For the first time in my life, I regretted not doing this while I was still alive. Okay? Are the walls soundproof? I was gasping as I asked, but it was bothering me. You're thinking about that now? After that performance? My, what lovely vocals you have. Yes? My dear, what do you think? Considering she herself knows that she can hear Kane being yelled at by the guys? No, it is absolutely not. I covered my mouth. He took both of my wrists and pinned them down to the bed. No, you can't have that. Say this. You absolute ass! Weren't you asking to see it earlier? I looked down at his form, now entirely bereft of his clothing.
I've seen better.
Nice job. Is that so?
I was close to Felix, wasn't I?
And that was the final nail in the coffin. While he was a gentleman for the first portion of the night, I woke up very, very sore in the morning. I was so very groggy. Every bit of me felt like it had gone through boot camp. I don't think I was even able to bask in the so-called afterglow for long. Kane made sure that I was entirely spent for the duration of the entire night. He only had mercy on me when the sun was finally beginning to rise. By the time I managed to open my eyes, Kane was already awake and dressed. I glared at him. You!
My, what a sweet greeting.
I cannot feel anything between my legs, or most of my body, for that. I looked under the sheets and gasped. Oh, is that okay? I'm scared for her. My hips are black and blue. It's not like anyone will see them but me. So you're confident that you'll see them again? Frankly, I doubted I could ever move again. He was not demon-like. He was an entire demon. I was convinced they plucked him out of hell and disguised him as a reaper here. Naturally, you're mine now. You're so cocky, I shouldn't let you touch me again. He grinned and knelt on the mattress with one knee. With a finger under my chin, he tilted my face up, and his eyes darkened with devious thoughts. Are you so sure about that? Is that really what you desire? Or... I couldn't answer, because his lips were kissing down my neck again, and his tongue teased at all the love bites from our long night together. Just how are you so confident anyway? I did not imagine you would have been so well prepared. What were you expecting? I don't know. For you to be flustered? Or do you do this often? He harumphed, clearly offended at my question. This is extremely out of the ordinary for me, I assure you. I am not like you humans who jump into bed at the slightest lure.
You jumped into bed with me.
I pointed out proudly, and he nipped at my ear, his smirk pleasant against my skin. An anomaly.
So that just makes me that sexy, right?
Ah, yes. Let us add temptress to your list of misdeeds.
Hey, wait, you're not serious, are you? Afraid that I would add to my punishment, I started to push him away in panic, but he caught my hands and kissed my palms. Of course not. It takes two to tango. I wouldn't increase my list of problems for a dalliance if it were a sin. I see. I went back to my first question, since it was still bothering me. You weren't nervous at all? Not a bit? And that was it? No other thoughts on it? Should I have any? Am I the only one reading more into this than I should? Or was he being difficult on purpose? You shouldn't play with the maiden's heart like that. Oh, I'm no longer a maiden, am I? So you really feel nothing at all? It was my first time, so sorry if I'm expecting something more from your end. He leaned in, an amused smile on his lips. Were you looking for a repeat performance? No, that's not what I was asking at all. But I wouldn't want to say no to that either. Well, shall we argue or be productive? You've just dressed. I can manage. He smirked as he loosened the belt on his trousers. Besides, you are still bereft of clothing. That I am, but I was wondering something. I sat up in bed and let the sheet fall to my waist. He took no care to pretend that he wasn't ogling my front, but after everything we did together last night, it was difficult to feel shy around him. When aren't you? If this is out of the ordinary for you, how do you seem to know what you're doing? You were a bit messy while kissing me, but once you started to, well, you know, you seem to know exactly what to do. Porn? I don't know. My kisses are messy? He furrowed his eyebrows in consternation. We can improve on that. I said impatiently and nudged him, but now that the offer was on the table, I decided that I wanted to take it after all. I suppose so. Well, it is a matter of technique. That you learned from... He sat beside me and put an arm around my waist to draw me closer. Once upon a time, on a visit to the human realm... I put a hand to my mouth and gasped. You did it with a human? Would you listen? He pinched my side and I yelped. I was with my brothers. You watched? What? We came upon a coupling. And then you watched them? That is really weird. He huffed impatiently and then pushed me down against the bed. You're terrible at listening to stories, dearest. But no, I was curious and purchased a book on the matter that detailed such acts. And you remembered it all? Couldn't imagine him reading such a thing. I have, what is it called? A photographic memory. What is that? Perhaps we kept you in purgatory a little too long. I pouted at him. Did you keep me there on purpose, Kate? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Who knows? He chose to be infuriating at all times just to drive me insane, didn't he? He chuckled against my ear, a low rumble that I felt entirely too pleasant, to be fair, and my skin was warming up again, as if anticipating him. Does it matter? Absolutely! His grin did not bode well for me. How about now? A finger dipped between my thighs and teased me in a way that should be illegal. Again? Yes. My protests were pathetic. I sense that it really doesn't, and that something else might be more important for you right now. You're terrible. I steadied myself by gripping his shoulders and parting my knees wider in weakness. My, you're being quite bold. And like the cruel man he was, he paused his ministrations. I was appalled by this discourtesy. King!
Be a good girl and ask nicely.
Just watch, Kay. One day I will get my revenge, and you will regret this. Please? Please, what am I? Am I reading porn? Please continue what you're doing, or else. He was touching me everywhere but where I needed him to. His fingers were on an evil path, in circles that drove me wild. You will be terribly flustered all day? What else?
I will be merciful. That lovely cry of yours is payment enough for right now.
There was a special place in hell just for him. I just knew it. I'd even go down there myself to make sure of it, I think. But yay, finally Kane's route is done. Interesting that they just added a lewd scene out of nowhere. I still feel like their conflict was mostly unresolved. Like, they keep dancing around the idea. Whatever. But okay. Next, we're going to do the other boys. The poor forgotten boys. Okay, let's do Valifar. Valifar? Are you awake? Oh dear, sorry for disturbing you. Wait, oh, I'm dumb. Oh, we can skip this until... Eh? I'm confused now. Did we already do Valifar last time? I don't think we did. Okay, let's try Sayer, because I remember we did not do Sayer yet. Okay. A resounding hit echoed in these dark walls. It managed to seize my attention, and I looked up to find Kame on the floor and Sayer standing beside him.
After everything I've done to protect her heart and soul, how could you hurt her like this?
Oh, I love how raspy his voice is suddenly. Very good voice acting. Kame was doubled over, flabbergasted. Even Aries and I were silenced. Sayer just struck Kame. This was almost as shocking as everything else that happened today. I expected the ceiling to start raining fire at any moment. Sayer, you need to be resting right now. I have retained some of my healing powers, although I perhaps am not in the best state to use them. Even if I were dying, however, nothing would stop me from coming to Vere. When Lilia told me he brought her here, I have always considered you my brother, and yet you hurt the one dearest to my heart. Sayer, I may have lost my wings, but I have gained a new consciousness. I can feel so many things. The first thing I feel right now is hatred for you, Kate. The loathing in his voice was terrifying enough to bring me back to reality. Sayer, my sweet Sayer, my lovely angel. I slowly wiped away my tears, and saw that the back of his shirt was entirely bloody. Giant slits in his shirt, stained in crimson, replaced where his wings must have once been. I wanted to scream. Sayer? Sayer, what has happened to you? Vere, I have neglected you. I am so sorry. He staggered with every step, and I wanted to cry, to tell him to stop. I could go to him instead. I would carry him. He knelt down and held his arms out for me. Sayer, let me hold you. But you are the one in need of comfort. You are shaken to the core. Are you out of your mind? Just look at you. I was the last person who should be asking that. Had the sight of my angels and tatters not shocked me back to reality, I would still be curled up.
Sayer! My poor Sayer! What have they done to you?
I held his head to my chest and wept for him. The loss of his innocence, the loss of his wings. Wings that he wanted to show me. They have freed me, Vere. I couldn't have asked for a better outcome. Let us go home. You have been through so much. You're so strong. Let me carry you. Sarah, take one look at yourself. I want you to think about yourself first here. We are going to be here all day at this rate. King, carry Sarah. I'll take Vere. I do not wish to be near Kame right now. Alright, then get on my back and I'll just carry her in my arms. Damn, he's strong. I don't like that. Sarah, what? Do you want to crawl home? I am more than capable of taking her. And I am more than capable of taking care of myself. I can walk. No one needs to carry me. My knees wobbled too much to give me much credibility, but I was determined. In truth, I really wasn't in the state to get anywhere. I wanted to curl up somewhere and cry, and sick to my stomach as I was, but all these men were driving me up a wall. If I would get Sayre to rest safely, I'd trudge through fire right now if I had to. Let's go home. But no buts. I seized underneath his arm and winced. Aries! He swept Sayre onto his back while I held my fallen angel's hand. You've done well, Sayre.
Will you stay with me?
As long as you need me.
I promised to him quietly, and he didn't let me go once. The trip home was lonely, quiet, and suffocating. Sayre had been hiding his pain in the hall, but he couldn't disguise it any longer. Zafan was shaking in the front seat while Valafar drove. Between Aries and myself sat Sayre, and I kept his head against my chest. The others were reluctant to leave me alone with Sayre. He retained his healing powers, but did little to ease the damage on himself. For tonight, we decided that we would spend the night in my apartment. Zafan and Valafar joined us to nurse Sayre back to health. There must be something we can do to help him. I had been sitting next to him, and he squeezed my hand tightly. Our fingers were interlaced our entire time here, and his palms were terrifyingly cold. The pain is part of the punishment, Vere. How do you know that? Look, don't question it. Just let him rest. He's going to be suffering for a while. How long? Long enough that he won't ever forget. I'm so sorry, Sayre. What can I do? Support him. Keep your head down. I got the sense that Zafan wasn't entirely pleased with me. Vere, go rest. Today has been nothing but eventful. We'll handle it from here. I was grateful for their presence because I could no longer tolerate existing. Sayre only agreed to sleep in the bed if I were to share it. I wasn't allowed to be uncomfortable in any way, according to him. So Zafan used some of his powers to put Sayre to sleep. Considering his state, it was all too easy. Wake me if anything happens, please. Don't wear yourself out. Take shifts. There's no need for the two of you to exhaust yourself either. Zafan glared at him, but Valafar put his hand on the redhead's shoulder to calm him. Out of everyone, Zafan was the most affected. I suppose they always had the closest relationship. Good night, Sayre. While I wanted to stay with him, the guilt was unbearable. I couldn't look at him. I needed some time to collect myself. Falling apart would do no one any favors. I need to be strong. I need to rest. Aries followed me to the living room and took a seat on the couch. He had set up a bed for me earlier, and I slumped into the pile of blankets the moment I reached it. I didn't think that I could sleep again after everything, but as soon as my head hit the pillow, my body gave way. What the fuck happened? What did I do? Oh, I thought I did something bad. And then, at last, sleep overtook me. I wasn't sure if there was anyone out there who could hear my pleas, but I dearly wished that this would be my final slumber. Okay. I don't understand why. I don't think I've done Valifar's route yet, so I don't understand why I can't. Or maybe I have. Let's try one more time. If I skip and it's done, that means I've done it. Okay. Then I guess I've somehow have done Valifar's, but I don't remember what it was like. Let's do none. Skip. Look at who it is. My wonderful owner. It was fun being your pet.
Do hold me close again. I missed being in your arms.
Really? He turned towards me, although his eyes couldn't meet mine. Nox. I ran up to him, but Kame suddenly appeared before me and held me back. How did he move so quickly? I was, however, getting annoyed at being stopped at every turn. Kame, let go of me.
Do not interfere right now. This is your one and only warning.
I flinched, finally aware what it was like to be under threat by Kame. The very same man who was always smiling and put little umbrellas in all of my drinks. Didn't I already do this part? The bird in his eyes right now was truly demon-like. He had become another person. Okay. Oh? Huh. Big brother, you're a real asshole, you know that? A phantom voice I could not place. Wait, sorry. I need the charger. Never mind. Okay. A phantom voice which I could not place echoed through the hall, and a single crow's feather fell at my feet. A calling card of sorts. You! How? Do I really need to explain? Just pretend you never saw me. There's a shroud over the hall right now, for a bit. Why don't you just lie like you always do? Malthus then turned his attention towards me. He gripped my arm tightly and yanked me up, but something gave him pause. You look like shit, princess. He turned towards Kame and then back at me. That's Sim, you ran. What the hell, Kame? I don't know the full picture, but she looks like she's going to pass out. He shook me gently, tapping my cheek. Let's peace out of here. Do not even think about it, Vere. It was in no condition to listen, and more importantly, I had no desire to. Resentment prickled within me, and I had the urge to oppose Kame. Perhaps I did deserve such cruelty after all. My mind was too far gone to register the who, what, and how as I was hoisted up on his shoulder before I could even reconsider. The brief rush of air on my cheek brought me to my senses, though it did not quell the spinning in my head. Princess, we're stealing you away. You can cry in my arms later tonight, or something. Just add kidnapping to my list of charges. You think I'm giving her a choice? Kidnapping. The word registered in my mind after a long delay. Oh dear. Wait, Hold on tight, princess. He crouched down and nothing happened. Oh fuck, I can't do that with a second person. I am going to either look badass or really stupid. He was muttering under his breath, and I had no idea what he was on about. Perhaps we both had lost our minds. He turned to me and glared at me with undeserved ire. If I look stupid, promise me you're going to close your eyes. What are you? Just before Kame could leap upon us, Malthus sprung into the air with me in his arms. Like magic, wings sprouted from Malthus's back. Black, large, and feathery. Incredibly beautiful, the same onyx color as the feather I had found on the rooftop. You're an angel? A foolish question, perhaps, But with everything that had gone on recent times, was it so out of the realm of possibility? No, just an oversized, bastardized crow. Close your eyes, will ya? He covered my eyes with his hand as we soared through the hall of memories, which came nigh on our tail. Had I been in a better state of mind, I'd be biting Malthus's face off right now and demanding release. But the rush of the air that surrounded my head did wonders for my spirit, and for this moment in time, I enjoyed the feeling of freedom. Is this what it's like to soar? Running away, it was weak of me. I was only human after all, but confound it all. Reaper, human, my heart is still the same. I still felt as strongly as ever, no matter what I was now. It wouldn't be so terrible to run and hide, even if only for a little while. A relieved laugh tumbled out of me, and Malthus scoffed in a very Aries-like fashion, accompanied with what I imagined was a roll of his eyes. Don't smile. You're my hostage, you little weirdo. So what the hell happened to you, princess? Where's that nasty little attitude of yours? Maybe I should try kissing you. What? Where did that came from? His nose touched mine, and while I was still myself enough to take a swing at him, he miraculously knew better and drew back. Nah, you're no fun right now. Well, hostage, just close your eyes and enjoy the ride. Don't think I'm a softie, but I know when I owe you one. Can you let me look now? No, you're my hostage. You can't know where we're going and how to get there. Even so, he parted his fingers just enough to let me peek through at the city lights below. My vision was finally unobscured, only to be met by a run-down, shabby-looking cafe. This is where you've been living? If you escape from here, you can't run your mouth. But yes, this is where we're shacking up now. There were various booths, which I assumed they slept in. While it had seen better days, there was a somewhat cozy atmosphere here. But that could just be because I welcomed the change in scenery. It was some place to rest and forget everything that happened. I guess Nox is here too. He made a disinterested gesture, and Nox poked his head out from the corner, summoned in an instant. I actually really like Nox. He started sputtering at the sight of me, and I gave a tired wave which only worsened his panic. What is she? What? Huh? He was clutching his head and bent over, muttering and frantically pulling at his hair. Are you out of your mind? He directed the question at me, as if I was foolish enough to come find a pair myself after all that happened. I kidnapped her. He wiggled my wrist around at Nox to demonstrate that I was indeed a captive, and Nox nearly burst into tears. Poor Nox, little baby. What? Why? I just finished cleaning up this place, and now we'll have to leave again. But you did save Malthus. Nox came over to me and leaned in to inspect me. Not like I asked you to, did I? I didn't need any saving. Ugh. Your fault for listening to that brat. He whacked Nox over the head, who whimpered in protest, making me owe you one and all. And that's how we got in this mess today, didn't we? But what if they're tracking her? Sure, they won't find us. Your wards are up, yeah? They are, but I was able to find them in that little alleyway. How strong were Nox's wards? It was foolish to think that they were living in that alley, I supposed, when there weren't any signs of living there. How they led their lives on the lam was a mystery to me. One I would start unraveling after I put my mind back together into one whole functional piece. Besides, I tossed her phone out on the way here. You what? I can't believe I didn't notice. I pushed him away and ran it on him. My cat photos! Your priorities are as straight as ever. You're in no condition to be worried about cat photos. You're still hurt, aren't you? I smell it on you. Sit down. Nox, patch her up. The two brothers wrangled me into one of the booths and looked me over. Malthus's fingers gently traced over my back, where my injury was. Sarah did a good job healing me up. It's got nothing on Noxie here. I can heal almost everything but a broken heart. Oh, that? You can just leave that up to me. Princess, I'll have you smiling in no time. I glowered at him in response. There's the feisty girl I was looking for. That's how my first day as a fugitive was spent. And then, at last, sleep overtook me. I wasn't sure if there was anyone out there who could hear my pleas, but I dearly wished that this would be my final slumber. And that is all! Yippee! I don't understand. This is probably like not gonna do anything, but I'm just so confused about Valifar. Like, how come I can't skip to his part? This is gonna take a while though, because this is chapter 4. And the fun stuff is at chapter 5 or something? I don't understand. And I'm only doing this just in case I was missing it in the last playthrough. If I didn't, then, you know, feel free. The video is pretty much done by now. Thank you so much for watching. Just trying to check this. But yeah, I'm really interested in this story, but honestly, I don't know if I can play the full game due to how annoyed I am at the main character and like the men. Like, I like Zafan, I like Sayer. Valifar so far for me has no character. Aries, I liked him, but now I don't like him. Kame, I don't really like him, purely because I don't think he matches well with MC. Like, I don't think they can support each other well. The villains, I don't like him. He's weird. Although I do like Nox. Nox is cute. I like Nox. Don't know about Malthus though. Although I do love crows, so I might like it. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see if I eventually play the full game. It's releasing in 2025, by the way, so if you guys are interested, feel free to play. It looks like they put a lot of effort into this, and the CGs are so pretty. It's crazy.
Enough!
I'm not missing any boys, right? Yeah.
If I...
Sayer is so pretty. For visuals, I think I like Sayer the most. He's not my usual type, but he's so pretty. Can't wait to see his CGs. Wait, if I do auto, can it be fast? No, it can't. I hope my tapping isn't too loud, by the way. Sorry, I'm just trying to go through this as fast as I can. There's no, like, skip button that doesn't immediately skip everything, so... very unfortunate. Felix is pretty cute too. Although his face looks a little squished compared to everyone else. I'm also really sad they didn't mention like why these men love MC so much. Like I wish we knew.
It's me, Aries.
Wait, Aries? Huh? That's weird because I'm in Valifar's route, so either in Valifar's route he just doesn't care about us and told Aries to come pick us up. Or they forgot to input it and accidentally inputted Aries twice. That's crazy. Yeah, that's Aries' route. I read through that, by the way. I read fast, but that was Aries' route. Valifar didn't appear at all in that. Okay, what about if I load Aries' route? Will it be different? Nope. Okay. I'm assuming they just accidentally inputted Aries' route in Valifar's route, because I'm pretty sure I picked Valifar. But yeah, that's all for Salvus Aries, the demo. Thank you so much for accompanying me, you guys, and I'm so sorry I keep complaining. Forgive me. I am very passionate about like plot and out of characterness, so I really hate like out of characterness and whatnot. So it was a little difficult for me to trudge through this, but at the same time I can see like the effort they put in it, and I really liked the story so far. It's just that I can't stand the personality of many characters. But it was a fun read. I hope that everyone who's interested, please support the devs, please buy the games. I have links in the description box down below where you can wishlist the game on Steam or try it on itch.io. But yeah, thank you so much everyone. See you next time. Bye bye.